You see, a puja's purpose for the ordinary person is not to plant siddhis to get enlightenment. A puja's purpose is to clear their immediate obstacle or problem that they're suffering. So the question is not so much on an ultimate level that it plants seeds of enlightenment. The question is, how does the puja clear someone's obstacles? So if you understand that and you can explain, then there's a reason that people will sponsor pujas. If you tell people to sponsor pujas so they can get enlightened, nobody will sponsor pujas. None of your customers will sponsor pujas. Sponsor puja, you'll be enlightened. You're like, what? Sponsor puja, you have a baby. Sponsor puja, you get well. Sponsor puja, your ghost will go away. Then they'll sponsor. So how does a puja help them remove their immediate suffering? That is the question. When you bless someone's car, how are you blessing it? What is the mechanics? So do you need a puja to do that then? Can you just be someone who don't know any liturgies, who don't know any rites and rituals, and just simply call upon the three jewels and say bless the car in the end, and it's blessed? Will that work? That will help you to answer the question that you're trying to answer. Will that work? Because there are people who are attained who know no rituals, and there are people who are not attained, and through sincerity the rituals work, because the rituals are written by attained people.
So it's based.
So if you had a monk who doesn't know any rituals, who didn't study much, but has dedicated his life to Tara, and he holds his vows, and he has very good motivation, and he lives the life of simplicity and lamrim, he has a lot of power.
Yeah, but he will still use like
No,
mantras.
he will simply pray to Tara. Mantra is not a ritual.
Okay.
I'm talking about tormas, the seven limbs, setting it out, sitting there, reciting from beginning to end a liturgy. I'm not talking about a mantra. A mantra is not a ritual. A mantra is a attainment that is manifested in sound of a deity. It's not a ritual. All right? So if you have this attained monk, simply think about Tara, who he's been perpetuating his whole life. And he has tremendous faith, and he's got pure motivation. And he just says, Tara, bless the car. The car will be blessed. Not because Tara is more indulgent of him because he's a devotee, as in the Hindu tradition, but because he himself has realized the nature of Tara more and more than us. So by the power of realization of Tara, he blesses that object. Whereas someone like you and me, who has not dedicated ourselves to Tara, and we don't have any attainments, but we are sincere. We really want Niral's car to be blessed. We want Niral to be safe. We want Niral to be well. And that's our pure intention. And he sponsors the tormas. And he sponsors the water and the offerings. And we offer this to Tara to generate merit for Niral. His car will be blessed by his own effort. I give you an example. Gen Nima. He knew no rituals. But he can heal, control the weather just by blowing in a pipe. Remember I told you guys? He told me, I don't know rituals. I said, why? I didn't take the time to learn because it's not necessary. For me, he said. So if you really want to make, there's a puja called Champe. It's a rain-making puja. It's a long ritual you do all day to make the rains come. And some monks do that. Gen Nima just blows in the air and the rains come. No ritual. He told me Yamataka could do everything. I'm like, you do Yamataka ritual to do the rain? He says, no. I just asked the rains to come. And I went, oh. It would mean that he's become one with Yamataka. I'm like, how do you ask the rains to come? He says, I just asked. I said, how come when I ask it doesn't come? He said, because you didn't do your retreat. And I'm like, oh. He's very direct. He said, you didn't do your retreat. And I'm like, oh. So if I do my retreat, will I get my rains to come? He says, that's not why you do retreat, to have rains come. I said, then why did you do retreat? He says, I did retreat to become enlightened. So I said, how come you can make the rain come? He says, it's a side benefit. I said, what about me? Can I become enlightened and make the rain come? He goes, that's up to you. And I went, oh. I debated with him. Oh yes, he's very direct and he's very kind. He'll tell you directly, it's not offensive. I said, yes. I said, if I do a ritual to make the rains come, he says, maybe. I said, why maybe? He said, depends on your motivation and how well you do it, and the patron, and if they have the karma to receive that. And I went, oh. So you see, in Yamataka's case, his case, he just ordered the Nagas in that area to give rain. That's it. We order the Nagas, they're going to get us. They will. They will get us. How dare you order me? Because you have Naga kings and queens and Naga powerful beings and royalty. You have Naga, very powerful old beings. You don't just order them around. Unless you're Yamataka. Or Tara. So, do we know how a puja works for people? Let's go back to that. When you have collected some negative karma, such as killing a cow, if you save 1,000 cows, it overrides that karma, but it doesn't mean that karma is still dormant. Will saving 1,000 cows purify, annihilate, and make the existing negative karma of killing one cow gone or overridden so you don't experience the karma immediately? What he's saying is, it overrides that karma so you don't experience buying you more time to eventually purify it. That's what he's saying. What he's saying is, when you save 1,000 cows, for example, that single cow killed is purified. That's what he's saying. That's what he said initially. So Pastor Niral doesn't agree. Pastor Niral debated back. No, it works because it's overridden, but it's still dormant. So can that cow arise in the future again, that karma? How was Nagarjuna finally killed? Why? How can Nagarjuna, by stepping on an ant accidentally on a blade of grass, collect the karma that blade of grass can kill him in the future when he's realized emptiness? So he saved 10 billion cows and he killed one, yet that one cow can come back to haunt Nagarjuna. Now think deeply. Nagarjuna's teachings have liberated millions of beings, gods, demigods, nagas, humans. He expounded, Sri Nagarjuna expounded the teachings of Lord Buddha to a level of like the Buddha himself. He's called the second Buddha. Correct? So if that is the case, how come that karma was still there? Certainly none of us has collected more karma, good merit than Nagarjuna. So what Niral says makes sense, that it was overridden but not eliminated. Those who know the story, the minute I say Nagarjuna's death, you go, oh yeah. If you have a container with a dot of ink, yes, and you look at it, you do nothing, can you see it? Of course you can. Of course you can. But if you compound it with 5,000 gallons of water, can you see it? But is it still there? That's exactly what he's saying.
So I was wondering if that means that's what pujas do. It's, instead of purifying the karma, it actually...
The puja has one of the limbs, the confession, if you do well, will help to purify. How strongly it purifies is how strong your karma and the 4 remedial actions are. You don't just do the 7 limbs and leave it, you have to do the 4 remedial actions. You don't just put water into that pot to dissipate the ink, you have to do purification to remove it too. Not seeing it doesn't mean it's not there. So are you going to drink that water with the ink that you can't see in it? But don't you want to do a procedure to purify the water so the ink is removed? That is what the 4 remedial powers are, to remove.
Very logical and simple.
So how? Let's go back to the original question. The second of the original questions. Do we need an enlightened being to ultimately purify our karma? Think carefully. Simple yet profound. Very profound. Think left and right. Think no and think all the reasons. Think yes and think all the reasons. And debate back and forth with yourself. It's not about winning or looking good or bad. It's about understanding. You do need an enlightened being to purify on an ultimate level. On a relative level, you may not need, because karma is not dependent on an enlightened being. Karma is universal. The purification of karma, the eradication of karma is not dependent on a sentient being, on an enlightened being. Example, you exhaust the karma. So if I pinch Neral, later someone pinches me back, the karma is exhausted. So did I need an enlightened being for that? There you go. Do I need an enlightened being to exhaust the karma to not experience it? Does that make sense? So, if I've committed some negative karma with Neral, and I've experienced it back, is that karma exhausted? Yes. Once that's exhausted, do I need to experience it again? Did I need an enlightened being for that? So, on a relative level for ordinary sentient beings. On an ultimate level, the most powerful karma is not the pinching of Neral. It's the ignorance that created my wish to pinch him. On an ultimate level, it's not me pinching Neral that creates a negative karma per se. It is my ignorance, my anger, my self-centricity, my selfishness that makes me think if I pinch Neral, things will be better, I'll be happier. That I, to be purified, needs an enlightened being. Why? Because only an enlightened being who is realized of that insanity or that ignorance can teach us the way to get out of it. And teach us the methods to get out of it. Is that understood? For example, by ringing a bell, with the correct motivation, correct thinking, correct visualization, we create the causes to destroy ignorance. Because the direct opponent of ignorance is emptiness. Offering the bell is offering the sound or the suchness of emptiness to the Buddhas. So when we do our rituals, Oma Are, Tare, Sabari, Wara, Shabda, Pratita, Hunso, Ha. Ka-ting, 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 ka-ting. Okay, if it's higher Tara, you have Damaru. If it's a lower Tara, you just have ka-ting, ka-ting, bell. Kriya Tara, Chariya Tara, Yoga Tara, just bell. Anatara Yoga Tantra Tara, Damaru and bell. So when you're offering the bell to Tara, you're offering emptiness. When you're offering emptiness to Tara, why do you offer emptiness to someone who is empty? Why do you offer emptiness to someone who has realized emptiness? Because you're not offering emptiness to a being who needs emptiness. You're offering it to a being who, by offering to this being, you generate the imprints and the method and the merit to realize emptiness. The bell is the method. So when you bless someone's car and you do the bell, you are blessing the car on an ultimate sense by remembering the emptiness. This car does not exist. If we break it apart, it's millions of atoms. The atoms put together makes it a car. We label it a car. We say it's a car. To someone else, it could be a place to sleep. There are people who don't use cars for cars. They use it to sleep. If we take it apart, we melt the metals, it can become a table, it can become a container. It's not a car. But we label it a car. And we realize that, therefore realizing that a car is not actually a car, like that, a table is not a table. My suffering is not my suffering. This person is bad is not bad. I must have it this way, it doesn't have to be this way. I loosen up my mind. I become lighter. My home is not my home. My relationship doesn't bring me happiness. Money is not the ultimate sense. It's all empty. We apply that realization of the car to everything in our lives. We become free. Why do we become free? Because when we realize it's not what we think it is, we let go. When we let go, we're free. When we're free, we have blessed their car. By what power? The power of drawing upon emptiness. So when you ring the bell, when you're blessing someone's car, it's very profound. Hence I ask you, why do you think your pujas work? This session is not to out you out on how much you know and don't know. This session is to let you know. Our little get-together today is about learning about pujas. The food was delicious, the company is beautiful, but that's not my purpose of getting together. A very attained person does not need any ritual, or no rituals, or even know how to hold a bell to bless, to protect, to extinguish suffering, or to get rid of someone's obstacles or spirits. They can simply talk to the spirit and they'll go away. Why? Because this person has tremendous bodhicitta, tremendous compassion and love. There's no way anyone can harm this person. So even if the spirit wants to harm, they cannot. So when the spirit sees this person, any thought of harm completely goes away, because the spirit look and say, there's no way I can harm him. The only thing I can do is either go away or listen to him. Hence, a very attained person doesn't need any rituals at all to do certain actions. For example, expel spirits. An unattained person like us, we can expel spirits by invoking and borrowing the attainments of the Buddhas. For example, Tara. So Tara comes, the spirit sees the Tara. By the power of Tara, the spirit goes away. So we're borrowing Tara's attainments, which Tara happily lends to us. How does Tara come and have that effect? Let's sponsor us. We're offering the 7 limbs. Each puja is some sort of combination or the full combination of the 7 limbs. Does anybody know what are the 7 limbs? So therefore, the 7 limbs are in every single puja, short or long. From Guru Yoga Lama Tsongkhapa to Guya Samaja, self-initiation. Whatever ritual you're doing. And those 7 limbs are in conjunction with the enlightened being. So when you do pujas, the effect that you have on that person will be in conjunction with the enlightened being. So if someone wants to have healing, you're doing in conjunction to the medicine Buddha. When you're doing conjunction to the medicine Buddha, you're doing the 7 limbs. When you're doing the 7 limbs, that is further enhanced by your motivation, your mastery, your concentration, and dedication. Those are factors that will enhance the puja. I give an example. If you put something in the hot sun, is it possible it will burn on its own, catch fire? Yes or no? Forest fires. You don't need friction or rub anything. You don't need to rub the branches. Forest fires, too much heat, just bursts into fire. Correct? Because there's combustible items inside, trees and leaves. So, forest fires are directly. But if you put a magnifying glass onto the tree, will it be even faster? That's how motivation, dedication, and mastery of the rituals help. Let that sink in first. So the first of the 7 limbs is refuge. Correct? Homage and refuge shouldn't be the same? Okay. Who are you making homage to and who are you taking refuge in? an enlightened being. In this case, Medicine Buddha. Second is what?
Offering
Making offering. You're making offering to who?
to the
Medicine Buddha. So when you're making offerings to Medicine Buddha, because he has a label of Medicine Buddha, it helps us to heal as if we're taking medicine, the diseases we're trying to heal. So by making offerings to Medicine Buddha, it is like receiving medicine. Number 3, when we confess to the Medicine Buddha our negative deeds, that is the direct counter to the actual karma that opened us for us to be sick. So when we make confession to the Medicine Buddha, we are confessing to the actual karma, knowingly and unknowingly. Some of the karmas we don't know where, but we know we did it, so we confess and we regret to it. Isn't there sometimes you said some things to people, you don't know what you said, you forgot, but you know it hurt them? Then 20 years later, you go back and say, I really forgot what I said, but I'd like to make amends and say I'm sorry for what I said. You forgot, but they didn't forget. You forgot your deed, but Medicine Buddha didn't forget. So when you confess your deeds knowingly and unknowing, forgotten and remembered, how strong your refuge is, how strong your offering is, and how strong your motivation and faith in Medicine Buddha is how much of that negative deed you will purify. How much you purify is how strong your refuge is. How strong your refuge is how strong you've studied the power and the qualities of the objects of refuge. If you know that the power of refuge, if you know the qualities of a Buddha very well, your refuge will be very strong. How much you like a certain food is how much you know how beneficial it is for you. How much you'll be willing to take a medicine is how well you know how much this can cure you. How much you like money is realizing what money can do for you. Did you like money now more or when you were 1? Now or when you were 1? Of course, because you know the supposed value of money. But if I gave you $1 billion in gold bullions when you were 1, what do you think you'll do with it? Ignore it. It's actually quite boring. You'd rather have a doll, a horsey, a game, maybe a train set. Correct? So if I put a train set in front of little Niral at 1, or I put $1 billion in gold bullions, which one do you think you'll gravitate towards? And today, which one would you gravitate towards? Correct. Why? That's right. So how strong your refuge is how well you know the value of the 3 jewels and their qualities. How well you know their qualities, how strong your refuge will be. How strong your refuge will be is how strong your confessional purification will be. Because if you just say, I confess all my negative deeds in this life and all future lives and my previous life, and I wish I didn't do it, it's just a little bit of power from reciting the liturgy. There's not much power because it doesn't come from here. How much intrinsic value you put on materialism is how hard you work for money. If you don't have very strong intrinsic attachment to materialism, you won't work very hard for money. How well you know the sufferings of materialism is how much you will not put an effort toward making money and being happy with just enough, like a yogi. Does that make sense? Now, next one.
Rejoicing.
By rejoicing, we can accumulate great amounts of merit by rejoicing in all the deeds of the Medicine Buddha. All the things that the Medicine Buddha has done, all the things that an enlightened being has done, all the things that Milarepa, Tsongkhapa has done, all the things that Buddha Shakyamuni has done in his life, all the things that Dorje Shugden did in his life, all the things that Tara did during the previous Buddha's time. Knowing their history, rejoicing in Naropa's background, rejoicing in Tilopa, rejoicing in Marpa, rejoicing in the great Ganden Tripas, So when that's why when you read the high Lama's biographies, you know what they've done. When you rejoice in those deeds, you collect a vast amount of merit. Because why? You are almost reliving what they have done and creating a connection to what they have done to do it yourself. Not exactly what they have done, but the renunciation, the practice, the dedication, the consistency. You create that karma to those qualities in them by rejoicing. So by rejoicing, you collect a great amount of merits. At the same time, you reinforce your mind towards something that is more virtuous as opposed to non-virtuous. So therefore, rejoicing is very powerful. Because if you see someone doing a bullfight and you rejoice, you create the karma to harm. You create the karma to like harming. You create the karma to see suffering and see it as pleasure. You create the karma that killing, murdering, torturing, for fun, for entertainment, for culture is good. So you come back into such a culture where killing, murder, torture, an animal is enjoyable. You come back as a hunter. Whereas the truth is, to become a hunter is to create the karma for great suffering. Tremendous suffering.
If let's say we rejoice has so much power, does it mean that if let's say we study a high Lama's biography, by rejoicing to it, it becomes much more powerful than we study any other Dharma text?
No, because rejoicing is only one of the factors for you to achieve enlightenment. It's not the only factor. For example, rejoicing is like a feather on a wing. You need many feathers, not just one. Next.
Requesting for teachings.
Requesting for the wheel of Dharma to turn in the 7 limbs is very powerful. Because what are you requesting for? An antidote to the end of your samsara. If you go to these seminars that teach you how to get rich, and you keep going to that, and you work very hard, you maybe might get rich, and you got your wish. But if you go to a Buddha seminar where it teaches you how to eliminate the cause of suffering, if you keep going to these seminars, keep requesting for those, and then going and requesting and going, you will eliminate the causes to be in samsara. So by requesting the Buddhas to hold another seminar, you are creating the karma for yourself and many others to hear the words of how this person became a Buddha, and to practice it and to become like this person. When we go to a seminar, we rejoice and admire the person on stage telling us how to be rich, how to be happy, or whatever the seminar is about. So before we go to their seminar, we have to request them, don't we? Same. When you're requesting them to remain in samsara deeper, longer, reaffirm samsara. That's what these seminars are for. When you request Dharma teachings, you are requesting your own liberation. And by requesting, Medicine Buddha isn't going to appear to you and teach because you don't have the karma to receive teachings from him yet. But because you request it, it might manifest in sitting at a hotel having fruits and getting a Dharma talk. It will manifest back in you getting the Dharma. And because you request it, it will manifest that when you get the Dharma, you'll be alert and you'll be happy to get it and not bored. Because that comes with a side benefit of requesting from your heart. Some people you give a Dharma talk to, it is the best sleep aid in the world. They go to sleep immediately. Some people give Dharma, they become angry. Some people you give them the Dharma, they're bored. Some people you give Dharma, they're extremely alert and happy. That comes as a result of requesting. So if you know the value of the 3 jewels, you know the value of the Buddha, then you understand the value of his attainments. If you understand the Buddha's attainments, you understand that came from the Dharma. When you have value in the Dharma, you will request from your heart. When you request from your heart, you create the karma to get the Dharma and be happy to get it. And when you're trying to get the Dharma, obstacles don't arise to stop you. Those are side benefits of requesting for the Dharma within the 7 limbs. Isn't that powerful? Doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not as simple as that, see? Next. Now, most of us cannot see the medicine Buddha, or Tsongkhapa, or Shakyamuni. Not seeing doesn't mean they don't exist. You don't see ghosts, they exist. Can you see your brain? Have you ever seen it? Fine. Now, because we don't have the immediate eye to see the eye, E-Y-E, to see the Buddhas, due to our afflictions and obscurations, we need it to appear to us in the form of books, writings, CDs, YouTube, FB, Facebook, notes, a teacher, Dharma brothers and sisters, a text, a scripture. We need that manifestation. By requesting a teacher to stay, it can manifest in an actual teacher living longer. It can manifest in meeting a teacher. It can manifest in meeting a deceased teacher's disciple. It can manifest in a Dharma text. It can manifest in a YouTube. It can manifest in any way that you will understand the Dharma. You guys understand? It can even manifest in discovering a terma, T-E-R-M-A. Because why? When you request the teacher to stay, the purpose is not that he sponsors your dinner every week. The actual purpose is to elucidate and learn the Dharma from the teacher. So we don't need to learn the Dharma only from a teacher. It can come from many sources. So the ultimate result will be you will receive the Dharma by one way or another, by doing the request. There's a saying, be careful what you wish for. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? Next. Dedication. And when you dedicate it, in your daily rages, in your daily anger, in your daily BFs, in your daily loss of equilibrium, the prior merits earned by the 6 prior limbs are not burned. Isn't that powerful? So if you skip number 7, most likely you lose number 6, leaving gold bullions out in the middle of the street. But if we put it in a nice safe and don't tell anyone the combination, or that we have the gold bullions or safe, that's like dedication. So you do the 6 limbs, 6-hour puja. Somebody shows up, steps on your foot, and you throw a BF. Guess what? All 6 limbs are gone, honey. It's time to redo the puja. And why do we have to keep dedicating? Because we have not reached a stage where we have eliminated anger. Why? Because our ignorance is still quite strong. So when you do the 7 limbs of a Tara puja, when you do the 7 limbs, in some pujas, the 7 limbs are not apparent. You see 3. You're like, where's the other 4? The 4 are interconnected with the 3. But it's not obvious, it's there. You guys understand? So when you do the pujas of any deity or a person, you are enacting the 7 limbs to generate that type of energy to help that person. That is why it's so powerful. The object of the generation is a Buddha or Buddhas. The method or the mode is the 7 limbs. And the subject is the sponsor or yourself. That's how puja is very effective. Now let's go back. Is that understood? Now let's go back to his little analogy, which I questioned him. If we can sponsor a puja and get well, or get our wishes come true, or purify some negative karma, why can't we sponsor someone in retreat and gain their siddhis? One of you answered that pretty closely. Wasn't bad. I was impressed. Let me explain. Because the siddhis arise within his mind stream. But you can get everything around that, but not that. But the next time you do it, you'll get it quicker than another person who didn't do it. So, when you sponsor Albert in a 3-year, 3-month, 3-day, 10 billion mantra Tara retreat, let's say you do that, he's doing the 7 limbs every single day, 4 times a day. The Tara sadhana includes all 7 limbs, but more extended form, even better. The normal pujas we do, the 7 limbs are shorter. In the Tara one, it's much longer and even better. Even in Yamataka or Vajragini. So he's doing the 7 limbs 4 times a day, because when you're in a retreat, you do 4 sessions a day. You do the session 4 times a day. You think, oh my God, how can I handle it? You will love it. You know why you will love it? Because you will see the results. It's like a person who enjoys their work so much because they're getting $100,000 a day. I enjoy my work too. At the end of the week, I own this hotel. Then I sell that and build KFR. Now, he will gain the siddhis, and I'm the one that enabled him to gain the siddhis. Do you know what I mean by I enabled him? I'm paying for his house, his tormas, his offerings, his bills, so he doesn't have to work, so he can gain those siddhis. And when he gains those siddhis, he will never have to work and do all those things again, because whatever needs to come, because the obstructing karma for it not to come is gone. Alright? So in that way, I will gain Dharma wealth in the future. What's Dharma wealth? If someone gives me $500 a month to do my retreats, I'll be just as happy if they gave me $5 billion. To me, as long as I can do my practice, I'm happy. So you eliminate attachment to materialism. So 500 billion or $500, it makes no difference to you, because you don't have the karma to experience the difference. You don't have the karma to experience the difference. What is the difference? One is ignorance, thinking 500 billion makes you happy. $500 is not enough. When the ultimate aim is to have enough to do retreats without being disturbed. In fact, having the 500 billion will disturb your retreat. Because you want to go and spend it. Make sense? Number 1. Number 2, in the future, if I want to look for a location will arise for me easily. If I want to find a sponsor will arise for me. If I want to receive the teachings of Tara to do a retreat, a teacher will arise for me easily, because I created the causes for him to achieve that. So everything I need to become one with Tara, everything I need to become highly realized, will come easier for me by sponsoring him. Then why do we sponsor him and not do it ourselves? Because we may not be in a position, family, money, finances, health, to do it. I mean, if I'm 100 years old and I'm sick as a dog about cancer, I can't do it, can I? And I'm on 4th stage cancer. So I'm praying in a future life I can do it. I sponsor him. I sponsor him to do Tara, that in my future life I come back, I can do Tara. There are many reasons why we can't do it. The best is we do it and sponsor him. That's why we sponsor monks and nuns. Because we're sponsoring them to hold their vows. Because if we don't sponsor them to hold their vows, they have to break their vows and go work. If they go work, no one will learn the Dharma and hold the Dharma anymore. That's why we sponsor monks and nuns. That's why we are generous with our gurus. Why do we make offerings to our gurus and give things to our guru and make it easy for our guru? So they can do their work to elucidate the Dharma for us. So today's meal, today's Dharma talk is sponsored by my sponsor. Somebody sponsored me to be here to offer this to you, to give you the Dharma. So whatever you're learning, that person is not learning, but they will create the karma, they will learn that very fast in the future, or will learn it. Hence, we don't take from our guru. When we take from our guru, we take from some. If he doesn't have it, he can't do this for someone else because we took it away. So we create the demerit of not receiving it because we took it away. Then, I cannot get attainments because the attainments must arise in my mind. But I definitely can create the causes for me to get the attainments quicker and faster because I've removed the causes for it to be slowed down by sponsoring his retreat. So therefore, the next time you all do pujas, the first thing I must recommend to you is this, is to go online in a language you're comfortable with. I think for you it might be German or whatever. There's a lot of material in German. And read the qualities of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. Tomorrow, next day, the next day, take a half hour out to 45 to 1 hour a day and let your mind calm down and read the qualities of the Buddha. Read it at least 10 times. I didn't say male or female, I said a Buddha. A Buddha is sexless, is genderless. Read the qualities of the Buddha's speech, read the qualities of the Buddha's mind, read the qualities of the Buddha's body, and the causes to achieve the body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. Read it, learn, research, understand it until it becomes firm, until when you even see a Buddha or Buddha image, tears come streaming down your eyes. And then when you understand that very well, the next time you do rituals, and the first thing is to take refuge, it will be very powerful. All of us here are ordinary beings, but we still have to do rituals to bless people's car, bless people's baby, bless their house, bless their land, whatever blessing they want. None of us in this room have any power to bless. I don't have, you don't have. So by us doing that, we're actually kind of tricking the public. We don't mean to, but we are. But if we continue not to study the qualities of the Buddha, the 7 limbs, and know the power of pujas, we will continue to trick the public. Because now we know how we can know. So remaining in ignorance is asking the support of people and lying to them. That's very bad karma. So, if we're going to do pujas, we must understand the qualities of the 3 jewels. Because the very basic preliminary of a puja is to take refuge and have complete confidence in the Buddha. Doesn't matter if the sponsor does or not, because by you taking refuge very sincerely from the depths of your heart, you generate the merit to dedicate for the sponsor. Isn't that fabulous? Next, second of the 7 limbs. So when you know the quality of the Buddha and you trust the Buddha so much, naturally you want to get close to them. Why do people run and go after celebrities? They run and go after celebrities is because they want some of that to rub off on them, some magic, some star to be discovered. You get what I'm saying? So what happens? Very simple. When you make offerings to the Buddhas with deep conviction of their qualities and what they are and how they benefit sentient beings, when you make that kind of offerings, the offerings become padameka, unlimited blessings, unlimited merits. Unlimited means tremendous amount, that's immeasurable. How much the blessings, how much the merit come from you making offerings is how much you realize who you're making offerings to. How you realize who you're making offerings to is to know the qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. It all hinges back on that. Isn't that profound? Now, when you make these offerings with a deep conviction in Tara, medicine Buddha, Lama Tsongkhapa, Dorji Shukden, very strong, then making offerings becomes very pleasurable for you, spontaneous, easy, and miserliness starts to go away. Do you know why? Because by making offerings to the Buddhas, you know what happens? You don't feel stingy anymore. When you go buy fruits, you won't buy one, you buy a dozen. When you won't save your money from buying flowers. You rather use your money for the Buddha. You rather have an empty pocket to make offerings to the Buddhas than have a full pocket by having an empty altar. because you know the value of making offerings. So as a side benefit, miserliness starts to deteriorate. Why is it when we buy a branded purse, wallet, or item, we don't feel the pinch, we feel the value of our money? But when we make offerings to the Buddhas, we try to look for discounts in a basa malam because we don't know the intrinsic value of the Buddhas. So miserliness goes away. Giving, generosity, sharing with people, money, food, health, clothes, to people who are important to you, to people who are not, close, far, a stranger, a homeless, an animal, becomes effortless for you. Why does it become effortless? Because your miserliness starts to go away. When your miserliness starts to go away, what happens is you create the causes to never go hungry again. Opposite of the very reason you kept all that, because you're afraid to go hungry. You don't spend because you're afraid to go hungry. But you see, keeping the money doesn't make you not go hungry. There are many wealthy people who end up on the streets. So if that's the case, it must be karma. So if it's karma, we have to let go of miserliness. If we have to let go of miserliness, then we create the karma not to ever not have what we need. So by making offerings, by knowing the value and the benefit of making offerings to the Buddhas, because you know the value of the Buddhas. So when you make offerings to the Buddhas, that includes the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Building temples, printing texts, making offerings to the monks, food to the Sangha, painting the temple, making statues, offering malas. When you are generous in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, you create the causes for you to never, ever not have what you need in the future again. Do you know why? Because what gives you what you need is not what you have and what you save. It's what karma you have to create it or to keep it or to produce it. Isn't that powerful? That's what happens when you make offerings to the Buddhas. Miserliness, the very cause of our poverty. Internal and external poverty. Internal is selfishness. External is not having enough, really. The cause is that it gets destroyed by making offerings to the Buddhas. Then you become very happy. You're excited to go to Walmart. You're excited to go to Pasamalam. You're excited to go to the store to buy offerings to the Buddhas, to make offerings. You're excited to make offerings to your gurus. You're excited to make offerings to the Dharma and Sangha. You're excited to print books, to sponsor animals, to feed the poor, the homeless, because you know that that will create the karma that gives you the most value out of your money. The highest interest rate. So a genuine practitioner is very generous and has no attachment to money. Why? Because they control materialism. Materialism doesn't control them. Understand?
They control materialism.
They control materialism because they're the boss. Materialism doesn't control them. When materialism controls them, families break up. They fight over money. They fight over property. People fight and kill each other and lie and deceive and trick each other to get more money. That is when materialism controls you. When you're generous, when you don't hurt people, when you don't cheat people, when you don't lie to get money, and you're honest, then you control materialism. Isn't that powerful? This comes from the 7 limbs, my dear. That's all in your pujas you do for people. Next.
Confession.
Correct. And when you confess, when you're open about your mistakes, when you don't hide, you know what happens? The ego gets smaller. You know why the ego gets smaller? The ego needs a very big dark place to hide. The more light you shine, the more it's exposed. Confession is turning on the lights on the ego. The more we hide, the more we have no peace. Confession is very powerful. On top of that, confessing every single day to known and unknown deeds. Definitely, we did a lot of negative karma before that we don't know about. We don't know about. That is still there and dormant. To get to those is by confession. Confession to who? To ourselves, to the people around us, especially to the three jewels. Example, the 35 confessional Buddhas. What is there to be seen and known that the Buddhas did not know or see? The Buddhas can see all is there to be seen and know all that is to be known. Since the Buddha can see and know and is omniscient, there's nothing to hide. Knowing the qualities of the Buddha, I confess in my heart. So confession becomes more powerful when you know the qualities of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. Isn't that powerful? Can you see how everything hinges on the qualities and knowing it? Very powerful and profound, yet simple and logical and attainable for all of us. Teaching the qualities of the Buddha is beautiful. Next.
Rejoicing.
How do we rejoice? There are two ways, an ultimate level and a relative level. Relative rejoicing is, oh, he's doing a job and he got wealthy. Oh, he wanted a son, he got a son. Oh, he wanted a daughter and he got a daughter. Wow, he was able to make a trip. Wow, he fulfilled his bucket list. Wow, he was able to grow some hair, he was bald. That's rejoicing on a relative level. But that's actually increasing samsara in them and us. But it's the first stepping stone to not being jealous. The ultimate level of rejoicing is not when people do well in samsara. Is when things in samsara turn them to do more dharma, to renounce and be a benefit to sentient beings. That is the ultimate rejoicing. So if we see someone become rich, oh, I rejoice. Actually, you're asking them, you're giving more negative karma to them. Wow, you caught 30 tons of fish today. Oh, I rejoice. Your seafood market's going to be very successful. I rejoice. Okay, it's not very good, but it's better than not rejoicing. Why? Because you're rejoicing for something negative, but you're still rejoicing because you're letting go of jealousy. It's not good, the object of the rejoicing, but the rejoicing is good because that's a minor step to a higher rejoicing, to ultimate rejoicing. So when you see someone disrobe, you don't rejoice. When you see someone take ordination, you rejoice. Why? That's ultimate rejoicing. Why is it ultimate? Because it brings you to the ultimate level, leaving samsara. Oh, well, I don't think I'll do Dharma anymore. I think I'll go to school somewhere, and I think I'll get a degree, and I'm going to work and be happy and be free. Oh, I'm happy for you. Why? They're creating the causes to be in samsara even deeper. They're happy because they're ignorant. They're happy because they have the negative karma to support it. So if doing non-Dharma work is good stuff, like some of the people who tell us, oh, I've left Dharma, so I'm happy now. If that's the truth, then why don't you make sure all the monasteries close down? Why do you focus on Kachara? Why do you tell the whole world, oh, I'm so happy I'm not in Kachara. I'm so happy I'm not in NKT. I'm so happy I'm not with that cult. I'm so happy I'm not with that teacher or this master or that monastery. I'm so happy at this room. I'm so happy I'm not a nun anymore. I'm so happy I'm not a monk. Oh, now I'm free. I can do what I want. I can do practice according to the way I want. I'm free. So in that case, why don't you start a campaign to close down all the monasteries so everybody can be free? Doesn't make sense, right? So why be so Kachara-centric? You left Kachara, you're so happy, and you're so free. But that's not the truth. The truth is, you're angry, you feel you didn't have freedom, you feel that the truth didn't match you, so instead of confessing to that, or admitting to that, or realizing that, you like to put who teaches the truth to you. So if the truth is that damaging to you, wouldn't it behoove you to close down the monastery because there's another 500 teachers there teaching the truth? Why do you target Kachara? Kachara didn't rape you, didn't molest you, didn't cheat you, didn't kill you, didn't hurt you. What did Kachara do to you? So why is it, oh, I left Kichara, I'm so happy. How are you? I'm so happy. That means you're happy not doing Dharma work. Yeah, it wasn't for me. Well, then samsara is for you. Good luck. So go target Ganden Sarah Drapo. Go tell the Ganden Chipa, you don't have freedom and you're not giving other people freedom, man. It's crazy. Then the Dalai Lama should disrobe too. You see how they don't make sense? So what happens is this, is rejoicing on an ultimate and relative level. Ultimate is for people to do actions that you rejoice in that leave samsara. Relative is when good things happen to people, irregardless of the results in the future, that you don't know about. So if they get $1 billion, you rejoice for them. You're not jealous, but it doesn't mean they end up well. But you don't know that. So temporarily, okay, I rejoice for you. I mean, who's happy when their business doesn't do well and they can't pay their bills? But doing well in business and paying their bills doesn't mean they go to a good place either. They can drink, do drugs, womanize, destroy their families. We don't know, right? Last one?
The last is dedication.
And finally, after realizing the six profound limbs, requesting, rejoicing, purification, confessing, taking refuge, etc., etc., and you create a tremendous amount of merits for the sponsor to do the puja or for yourself, because of your great faith in the Buddhas, then you do a dedication so that the merit is sealed. Then the merit that you have sealed for them will create the causes for them to become a Buddha in the future. If you seal the merit that may they have long life, health, happiness, wealth, and family, it stops there. If you seal it where they have that and full enlightenment in the future, it becomes that. It's like a parent directing the child when the child is young. They can direct them to traffic, or they can direct them to a safe room. Good example? Profound. You understand that? So when you do the pujas, it's based on your faith in the Buddhas, and even if you don't know the ritual well, it slipped your mind, you're not faking it, or you don't know the ritual, you have a tremendous power to bless based on you having faith in the Buddhas, having a good motivation, and doing the best you can. A 5-hour puja to Tara can be just as effective if a person recited Tara's mantra 5 times with faith. But that takes an extraordinary mahasiddha. There are very powerful people there who don't know any rituals, who can recite Tara's mantra a few times and effect the change. As opposed to us doing a 10-hour Tara puja, which is good. It's good for us, it's good for them. So, when you're blessing a car, have faith in the Buddhas. Invoke upon whatever Buddha you're invoking, whatever you feel close to. And read about the quality of the Buddha. If you're invoking Lama Tsongkhapa, read up on Tsongkhapa more. Study Tsongkhapa more and study the qualities of the Buddha. When you understand the qualities of the Buddha, when you call upon them, your faith is firm. When you call upon them, your faith is firm, you do the blessing, it's very powerful. Based on you having firm conviction and, most important, good motivation, then the puja will be quite effective. And if you do that enough times, you become a mahasiddha, because the merits are so great. Not only can you effect the change in the sponsor, you can effect the change within yourself. Because doing a puja, you're not a pipe having water go through. You're like a sponge that's soaked, and you can squeeze a little and the water still comes out for them. Isn't that powerful?